All right, y'all. Welcome to the Reality or Not podcast. You're in tune with your boy DJ Reality and your boy Ed, man. Hey, man, how you doing today?
I'm cool, man. What about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Just living and giving, doing what I can.
Sounds good.
Good, good. All right, jump right into it, man. How you been feeling about the NBA playoffs? Have you had a chance to watch? I know Minnesota got the win last night, so that series is 2-1. Indiana up 2-0 on the Knicks. How do you feel about those series?
I ain't watched the games, but I just done kept up on them. Try to watch inside the NBA. I don't know. Seemed like Indiana will probably win.
hmm
OKC will probably win. I think OKC will win the chip. What about you?
Man, what I want to happen versus what's probably going to happen. Excuse me. Is
Bless you.
I feel like thank you. I feel like Indiana go take the Knicks, but I want the Knicks to beat them. I don't know why. I don't really have no horse in either race, but I think it'd just be a tougher matchup for OKC. And then on that flip side of that, I want Minnesota to beat OKC, but I just don't know if they have enough. They look good at times, and I have to say, like them in Indiana are, you know, they're those. I don't know if it's just coaching, but it feels like they've been able to, learn how the other teams playing. I think Indiana's been very quick about it versus Minnesota. Just, they've been relying on their talent, but they still figuring out, how to get wins. But I don't know if they can do that against OKC versus Indiana being up 2-0. And it's gonna get hard for the Knicks, going to. I think they'll get at least one game out of there, but going to Indiana, I don't really see them being able to tie up the series. But
Yeah.
um, so how you feel about the like? I don't know if you saw the highlights or whatever from the first few games, but like, um, what do you predict? I guess would be the series play out like. You think 4-2? Do you think 4-0? Do you think 5-1 or 4-1? Do you like how do you think the games will play out for or the series will play out for each sides?
No, I think the Pacers will take it in five. I think OKC will take it in five. Pacers might go six
Okay.
if the Knicks win one here in Indiana. They might take that second one in New York. Game five in New York. Um, but I don't see them going past six, and I don't think Minnesota. I think this is Minnesota's one win. I don't really believe in Minnesota like that. Like you said, they just been kind of coasting by on talent, and I
Mhm.
think OKC is just too deep. They're too good defensively. Like I don't think. Um, I know they won by like 40 yesterday, but I feel like that's one of those things that like will
Uh,
just make
Anomaly.
OKC lock in more.
Yeah, one of them anomaly
Yeah.
games.
Uh,
Because I was looking at the box score, and I think the highest, I think it might have been Shea, and the highest he had scored. Actually, I think it was some. I think it might have been Williams, but I think he had like 13 points yesterday, and I just don't
okay.
see that happening. Which I mean, I
Yeah.
think he's averaging over 30 anyway, or 28 to 30 plus for the series, and he did that for the season too, leading the league in scoring. So
Right.
I don't. That happens, every now and then where he just. I feel like he's gonna find a way to get the buckets next game. Um,
Right. Exactly.
so
Yeah. So. Yeah.
so let me
Yeah.
ask you this question with Shay. Like, and I was talking to someone about this other day, and I was thinking about. I was like, not to this extent, but would you consider Shay? And you, I mean, it's just your opinion, but like, do you, at least from the way I'm seeing it, like Shea gets a lot of calls, right? And I feel like it's kind of hardenish calls, like where I'm just going to drive and I'm gonna cause the contact. Like, do you see it as being, you know, Harden 2.0, or do you just see it, as I don't know, he's making his own way in a sense? Because, like I said, he goes to the line like at least eight to 15 times a game, So I'm just curious on your thoughts on that.
I mean, I don't think. Superstars get the calls. Jordan and the Bulls when they started. bitching and complaining about the Pistons hard play,
Hmm.
he started getting fouls. Like, I mean, foul call. I mean, I mean, superstars get like the calls. I mean, I think just with the league in general, they probably should cut down on some of this flopping and all of that. But I mean, because I think the Knicks kind of have a habit of doing that. Um,
Yeah,
I
Brunson
think,
does it all the time.
yeah, but I guess
He's a good player though. I mean, Brunson is. If I had to look at, it, I want to say he's definitely top 10, but he might be even top 5 in free throw attempts per games. So I know he's up there. So
yeah. So I mean, I guess if the refs gonna let you get away with it, they're gonna let you flop and flail your arms and call a foul and get you to the line. I guess do it. Like, I mean, it's on the league to like cut down on that. It's on the refs to stop making those little ticky tack foul calls. But if they gonna always give you the call, go ahead and get your 8, 15 free throws a game. Probably hit most of them. I don't know. I don't know. Part of me like says just hoop, but
mhm.
if they're gonna give you the calls, I guess you. I guess if I could drive to the hole and just flail my arms and draw a foul, I guess I'd do it too. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I will say this though. One thing I do notice is that it's essentially you can call a foul on every play, right? Because it's a lot of contact within
yeah,
the game.
yeah,
So I kind of get making it obvious that you're fouled because otherwise you probably wouldn't get that call. It was almost like that whole I want to say tough mentality, of the I don't know the 80s and 90s or whatever, but it's like I don't know if you're getting hacked and it impacts the shot, then of course I don't want to say act it out, but at the same time you got to do what you got to do to get to the free throw line. One thing I saw an interview with might have been Robert Ory, and he was saying how you know Shaq was getting hacked every single time he was going in the paint just because he was so dominant and you couldn't stop him. So um, in that sense, it's like I can't remember how many Shaq probably shot quite a few. I mean, he didn't make a lot of them, but he probably shot quite a few free throws just from being hit within the paint. But
right.
let me ask this question: do you think that because I feel like the game is still the game, but it's just a little bit more obvious as far as the foul calls versus like where they were back then, and then also to the impact of I want to say softness, but fouls now can get you a flagrant or you could get fined a lot easier now compared to back then. So
Right.
so
Yeah.
but what's your feel? Because I saw that who is it? I think it was Gary Payton. He was saying that players now can play back then, and like what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. The players are playing the game as it is, as it's called today. So, like, they call flagrant fouls for like stuff that was just you going to the paint. You was expected that you was gonna probably get a hard foul, so you didn't get an easy basket. But like today, they'll call flagrants. Like, I mean, I don't like. I think LeBron would have been okay in that era. Like, as for 6'8", 240. Like, no, there's some that probably wouldn't be able to take some of that contact. Some of the smaller players and things like that. But Iverson was like 6 feet, 160, 170 pounds, and he took the punishment. Like, I mean, players. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the part of the mentality, like, you don't have to. I mean, they don't have that mentality because they don't have to have the mentality. Like, I mean, so I mean, I think there's some that could, but I think it's. I mean, it's a crybaby league, but I mean, society's a crybaby society now. So I mean, they just ushered in crybabies. Maybe if they made people actually like not like bitch and moan about getting a foul every time down the floor, like if they ignored it, if they put a clamp on it, like if they didn't call a flagrant foul just because somebody like you hit the floor kind of hard like then yeah, maybe players would like toughen up. Like, but this, I mean, I don't think with the mentality, I don't think the mentality of today's players could probably play back in the '80s and '90s, but they're not in a position where they have to have like the mentality of what the players in the '80s and the '90s had either. So
And that makes perfect sense. I mean, you don't, and that's what I think. Honestly, all players from whether it's the '60s, the '70s, '80s, and '90s, I feel like talent evolves, right? So,
right,
I mean, I can like take Bob Cousy. Like Bob Cousy was only, like forced to dribble right-handed,
right,
so he didn't have to dribble left-handed. It's like, I mean, the dude's a Hall of Famer, but I feel like the game, like I said, with the game evolving, like you take away his right, then he's going to go left. I feel like great talent figures that out, whether it's
right,
the '60s, '70s, '80s, and '90s, blah blah blah. I mean, it's just like with, I mean, athleticism isn't like a major, in my opinion, major part of the game anymore. Where you just dunking on people and doing all these things. I think it has evolved to the 3-point shot and how efficient your team can be with running the offense with the 3-pointer incorporated within your system. So it's just you know I mean, I don't like. I remember like Vince Carter. I remember seeing something where I thought it was kind of weird, and I still do it to this day. But it was something where he said that he was going to stop driving to the paint because it's bad on his knees and it'll shorten his career. So he started shooting more jump shots and more threes and stuff like that. And if you look at his career, especially when he was on his tail end in Toronto and headed over to New Jersey, um, that was kind of his game. But I mean,
right.
the dude played 21 years, so I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, I feel like players would a Steph Curry would still get off. Steph Curry is Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, what I'm saying, in the '90s.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
yeah,
He's going to get his, and
right,
it's not like Steph Curry. I mean, even if it's a major part of his game, it doesn't feel like that's what Steph Curry relies on to impact his team or to be successful. So it just depends. I don't really see no player, especially now. And honestly, the talent is, I mean, the numbers are way higher, and the players are more athletic, faster, um, have the ability to heal a lot quicker, and we have better medicine now that changes. I mean, I remember what's his name, Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon had was it a type 2 Achilles injury or something like that, and he played like the next
oh yeah,
game. It's
yeah,
just like, bro, if you tore your Achilles, if you did anything to your Achilles in the '80s and '90s, you was done for that season, damn near.
right,
It
yep,
was like it was like that, and it was like that and the hamstring. It's like those
oh
are the two
yeah.
injuries I remember the most happening to NBA players. Um, so, but let me ask this question, and this goes to even what Aaron Gordon was saying. Like, do you think that there's a way to adjust the NBA game, like adjusting the NBA gameplay to help with, I don't know, injuries and stuff like that? Like Aaron Gordon was saying that it's kind of tough to play like, like have a game have a day in between, then play another game and go from there, or even the 82 game seasons. Like, do you feel like there's a way to adjust, or do you think it makes sense to adjust it if you do think that there's a way to do it? So
I mean, you can shorten it and get them more rest in the playoffs, but like really, like why? Like y'all all play the same 82 games. Injuries are a part of it. I don't know, man. Like
no, I feel
but
you.
to
I'm
what you said, like about the technology for medicine being better now than it was back in the '80s and '90s. Like I don't feel like you saw like this. Like they still play like it was at the point where it get to every other game. Like you're not playing back to back.
hmm
Like it was still like it's that's kind of what they've been in the playoffs. Like as long as I've been alive, it's been an 82 NBA season, 82 game NBA season. Like, but and y'all get and they get low management. Like
yeah,
you if you showing a little bit of injury, like you look at somebody like Iverson who who consistently play, who Iverson probably would have benefited from like load management, but then even wouldn't even want somebody like Iverson wouldn't even want to do load management. Like I mean, football can make football. They added another game, but football can make the argument that you drop us to like 12 games a season, we might see less injuries. Give us only two preseason games. Like, yeah, if you, I mean, if you shorten it up, yeah, you'll probably possibly see less injuries. But I mean, some of y'all ain't playing like you take an MB, you take Zion Williamson. Some of y'all ain't even making the 66 game like threshold to be
minimum.
eligible for like awards. Like, so like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I look at it as crying. Like Denver, y'all just lost. That's it. Like y'all, like, hey, just like y'all had like game, like had to play every other game. Oh, that was
Like
OKC. They lost. OKC had to play every other game. Like, so what's your?
it's survival of the fittest, man. It's
Yeah,
literally who lasts longer. Pause. It's like you have to, like if you have the team in the championship is realistically based off of staying injury free. Like everybody,
yeah,
and honestly, I mean, even though I had Boston winning it, I mean, before Tatum went down, they weren't looking good. like
yeah,
and it is. I mean, of course, terrible injury. Don't want nobody to get hurt like that. But um, in that scenario, I mean, not to say that
yeah.
they wouldn't have fought back and came back into the series, but they weren't looking good before.
No,
And they
yeah,
had like several games. I think he played 3 games. So
yeah.
it's just. I
So
mean, there was 2-1 in that, but it's just like injuries are going to happen. And then also too, the one thing that sometimes they don't pay attention to, and it's fine, but I mean, well, it's in their pockets, but you lessen the games, you lessen the amount you get paid
yeah, like
for everybody. So that always has to be taken into account too. And then honestly, man, if somebody, and I'm pretty like I'm not a doctor or anything like that, or I analyze the league like that, but I'm pretty sure that they have people that's doing analytics or looking at it like, well, if this person played this amount of games, they probably, you say Kawhi plays 72 games instead of 82 games. It's a 72 game season out of 82 game seasons. Kawhi probably still be hurt whatever amount of time, for that
yeah,
season. It's just shit is less time technically for them to be able to fix the injury because technically if he's hurt for 30 games, if he's hurt for 30 games within a 72 game season versus an 82 game season, he's going to miss part of that
almost half a
playoffs.
season. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
So
playoff. Yeah, so like, yeah, I don't know, man. I think like, man, when players get to losing and all that, they want to. It seems like some players want to do everything except maybe say the other team was better. We just didn't like have it this year. Like Denver was cool, but I mean, y'all fired y'all coach like a week or two before the season ended. Like,
mhm.
I mean, I don't know
It's
if
crazy.
anybody was expecting y'all to get to the
I didn't.
finals.
I like my whole logic behind him. I was like, they can only get as far as letting Mike Malone go. Like nobody, they were an anomaly that no one expected to move forward. I mean, I was surprised that
Yeah,
was the second round. I was surprised they got that far without, I mean, they did. I think did they hire that coach? I know they have
I
an
think he
interim
was an
coach. I think they
assistant.
actually
Yeah, I
hired him,
think he's
but
an oh, did they? Yeah,
yeah, I think they
but
hired him.
like,
I can't remember, but it's just like I didn't expect him to go nowhere. So after
yeah,
that injury, or after that firing, so
yeah. So it's
them
like,
niggas
man,
had been
y'all,
fighting by hoes or something. Like I don't know what it like. That shit is weird to me to hear about a coach and a GM both getting let go at the same time.
right?
Um,
Yeah,
it had to been about. Hopefully, it wasn't no Udoka type of shit. But
no, Mike Malone don't get down like that.
yeah. But you don't think the GM
Also,
might have
uh,
got at his
he
wife?
probably he probably did. He's probably fingering somebody's wife.
See, and now you done fucked up a championship
Mm,
caliber team.
Mike Malone got to go out the door. Um, no, I don't know, but like I think I saw somebody from inside the NBA said like, man, you get a situation, you got that situation, you had the situation in Memphis, and it's like said like Man, there's probably things going on that we don't know about because
Oh,
there's no
definitely.
reason that you can like on the surface. How are you firing Mike Malone, who won the championship 2 or 3 years ago? Your team wasn't like bad, and like your team, the team they have now, I don't think is better than the team that they had when they won the championship. I think their bench was a lot deeper.
Hmm.
Um, the year they won the championship because they had Bruce Brown, KCP,
Hmm.
the one I don't know if he's starting now, Christian Brown or whatever,
I like
or Brown,
Bron, man.
whatever.
I like Bron a
Yeah, I
lot,
do.
man. That,
Yeah,
that white boy be
but I
hooping.
don't.
And he got some
Yeah,
random pops too. So
yeah. So I think I know he was coming off the bench the championship year. I don't know if he started now, but I know he plays more of a role now because I think he might have just been a rookie. Like, so it's
I think he was
like,
a rookie that year. He came from what,
yeah,
Oklahoma, I think, right? I think so. But
yeah.
somewhere one of them white
So
boy
it's like your
states.
team. Yeah, it's like your team wasn't even as good as it was a championship year, and you lost to OKC. You didn't lose to Golden State, and Steph Curry had went down with an injury. Like if Minnesota would have lost to Golden State, where they had lost Steph for the rest of the series, what after game 2 or 3, you might be like, dang Minnesota. Like if that had been
Yeah,
Denver, you would
I
have been like,
wouldn't,
dang
and I
Denver,
like Anthony
when you
Edwards,
lose
but I
that.
would not believe in him as much if that was the case. Like if
Yeah,
they
that
lost
was
against a hurt Steph. So
yeah, like it's so Denver, like OKC been solid all year long. OKC is if Boston was the favorite, but if you had to pick who was coming out the West, a lot of people were probably saying OKC.
yeah,
Like, so it's not like you lost to a vastly inferior team. You lost to somebody that's, for the most part, for the whole year, has been favored to come out of the West. Like, so it's like, yeah, I mean, so y'all put 2 game, y'all put 2 days in between games. What that do? That just prolong the inevitable.
yeah,
Like, I don't think because what lost by like 20 or 30 in
yeah.
game
I think it
seven.
has to be. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
like
want to
man, that
say like the first half they was in it, and then the second half it just got crazy.
yeah, it's like so. You gonna tell me if you would have had one more day, what? So you would have lost by like
That'd have been a one more
20?
day ass whooping.
Yeah, like no, like sometimes the ass whooping is the ass whooping. Like and OKC had the same amount of time in between y'all. The only time that argument might work, and I don't believe in that, is if somebody wraps up a series early, so then they got a few more days of rest than like somebody like say Denver went 7 games. But like Charles Barkley said, it was like man, like that rest or no rest in between series, man, it's always so if if say I can't who OKC is playing what are they playing now?
Okay,
Minnesota. I
so,
think
yeah,
Minnesota
Minnesota. Hmm.
wrapped theirs up a little bit earlier. So if Minnesota would have came in and lost game one, which they did, then the argument would have been Minnesota had too much rest. They had rust.
Hmm. Yeah,
OKC lose, then it's like, oh man, they was coming off a 7 game series. They only had the day in between, like so they didn't have enough rest in between series. Man, that that argument of between like days off, like in between series, the number of days off, it only you just craft it to whatever narrative you want to fix.
that
Like,
argument is always 50-50.
yeah,
You could literally say, "Hey, we got enough rest. They came out well refreshed. They had the energy. They blew this team out." Or you could be like, "Oh man, they came out. They laid the egg. They sucked.
they
They
was
had
rusty.
yeah."
Yeah, like they had
Depends on
days
how
off.
you change the narrative on that process.
Yeah, it's like so. It's like I don't know, man. I like Aaron Gordon. It seems cool, but when he said that, I was like, man, y'all just be trying to make excuses. Like sometimes just take the L and move on.
Yep.
Like you was gonna lose. Oh, they could have gave y'all a week in between each game. You would have still. Y'all probably would have lost to OKC. Y'all probably wouldn't have went 7 games.
Yeah.
Like you would have given OKC a whole week to strategize and prepare for you. You probably would have lost in 4 or 5 games. Like OKC is just a better team. It's
Look, man,
cool.
you just play like you play the hand that you're dealt, right?
Yeah,
Um, and that's just the name of the game. Like, I mean, especially with them, and I mean, like I said, I don't want to be all in their pockets and stuff like that, but I feel like they're being compensated enough or more than enough, and the CBA keeps going up. as far as the TV deals and stuff like that. So you're getting paid more to be on television, and so for that exposure, the TV,
Man,
or it was ESPN, ABC, NBC now, it's just like they're paying to see top talent play
yeah,
throughout, whether it's daily, whether it's every Sunday, whether it's Wednesday night basketball. Like, they're paying for that talent to be on,
yeah,
and you're going to minimize, like, if you it always comes back to money, but if you're going to minimize the amount of games you can play, you're going to minimize the amount you'll be able to get paid.
exactly.
So,
And then they be crying about that.
yeah, which is
So
crazy. I
you
don't
know,
know. I mean, I'm wondering how, because I would, like, with Boston, I was like their contracts, man. They're I think Drew is maybe about 32 or 34 million, something like that.
yeah,
Um, Derek White is around like 30 million. And both Brown and Tatum are like 56
damn
plus.
near 50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So how does that? Because I need to, maybe I need to read up on this a little bit more. But they were saying the way that the CBA is structured, or that contract between the owners and the players union, is that for your next year, for them at least, they can't continue with that roster. It's something to the extent like they got to get rid of somebody in order to, like, by the laws of the CBA. So they got to let go some of their top talent. Oh, and Kristaps Porzingis is, I think, around like 29 to 30 million too. So, do you know much about that? I'm like not totally, but I know that they have to get rid of some of that to get below the not super max, but
what's the
the because it's
yeah,
different
the luxury
tiers.
tax?
It's
Yeah,
different tiers of the tax for the
yeah, the
team.
luxury tax.
Yeah,
Yeah,
luxury tax. So I think it's like they're in the second tier of the luxury tax. So they have to like get rid of some. Are you totally familiar with that, or?
no, I didn't know they was telling them they had to get rid of players. I thought it was just if you have them on your roster, it's on your. It's basically for the organization. They decide if they want to pay that super tax or whatever. I didn't know. I didn't know. Yeah, I'd have to look that up. I didn't know teams were being told that you would have to get rid of
I mean,
high
not players
salary players.
specifically, but yeah, they got to definitely cut that salary. Like, if they've been in that, it's the super luxury tax or the second tier luxury tax for more than a year or something like that. You have to adjust the book. So essentially, they're either going to have to get rid of Porzingis, Drew. I don't think that they'll get rid of Brown or Tatum. So, but they have to, and I don't know if they can even get rid of Derek White, because Derek White just signed that deal last year. But I don't know the nuances of it. But I know that they have to take some money off of the cap, because they've been in that second tier. This will be going into their second year. So, especially when they signed when did Jason Tatum sign? I want to say Tatum signed his extension last year for the 30 million, because um, Brown signed his, I want to say, mid-season for 200. No, his is 300 million too. I don't know. I know it's something that they have to figure out. They're going to have to get rid of somebody this year, that's large on the books. So,
Mhm.
and then most likely, in my opinion, it'd be either Drew or Chris or Porzingis. So,
Yeah, no, I didn't. So the only thing I see, they say that like if you're a repeat offender,
mhm.
then you'll have to pay a higher tax than teams that aren't a repeat offender. I
And I
don't
mean,
see
that could
anything
be
where
it
they
too.
have
I
to
mean, that could be it too.
specifically.
I know
Yeah,
that
I
they
don't.
go. Yeah, go ahead. My bad. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I don't see anything where the NBA is specifically making them cut salaries. But to what you're saying, like from what I had understood with Boston, it was especially with Tatum being out pretty much for next year. I guess I thought the thought process. I thought I heard coming out of Boston wasn't going to want to pay the penalties that they'd have to pay to have all those contracts on the books.
Mm.
So they felt like, to what you're saying, they probably had to get rid of somebody. And I guess especially like, and from what I understood, like it became more of a thing when they lost Tatum, and the fact that I guess they feel like if they're not going to be contending for a championship, they definitely don't want to like pay whatever tax penalties they'd have to pay, which is I don't know what the penalties. And I guess that's the thing, like depending like because I would make the argument that if I mean I'd just ride the year out and try to keep the team together,
Hmm.
have Tatum come back next year. But on that other hand though, like if you I know Drew Holiday's a little bit older, like I guess if you don't think that team is still I don't I guess if you think that like the talent of that team or their abilities are gonna go down that year that Tatum is out, um, I guess. I mean, I guess they could
That thing's
always
a
do
well
a tank
constructed
move.
team, though, man. Like they
Yeah,
really, I mean, minus the Tatum injury and stuff like that, they really had every piece. I mean, they got Peyton Pritchard on a friendly contract. I mean,
yeah. I think they can make the playoffs again. I think they can make the playoffs next year, especially in the East.
mm,
Because I what I think is going to
they gonna
happen.
make
I
it
think
above Philly. Shit.
yeah, and I think Brown.
Like
Yeah,
Philly, I'm worried, and them niggas got damn near three All Stars on their team.
yeah,
You
and
know,
only one plays consistently.
yeah.
Um,
So
I think Brown's going to ball out next year. Like
you
I
think
think
you said Brian?
Jalen Brown. I think
Oh,
Jalen
Jalen
Brown's
Brown.
going to ball. I think Jalen Brown's going to ball out next year. I think he. I won't be surprised if Jalen Brown got in somewhere around the 25 to 30 point um, scoring average. Like I really like Jalen Brown. I like Jalen
Me
Brown
too.
more than
I think
Tatum.
he's dope.
Maybe because he's darker than Jason Tatum. So maybe
I'm
there's
gonna wear.
some.
I'm gonna wear his shoes. I don't know if I showed you his shoes. I'm gonna wear his shoes on the podcast next time. He got. So I don't know if you knew this history, but like he was, like I mean, Jalen Brown is kind of like his history dates back to like him being drafted, and some of his stuff on or some of his scouting report on him being drafted was he's too smart.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, damn, that's crazy that you're like you may be too smart for any of the organizations. And he's done some dope stuff, as far
Yeah.
going to Harvard, doing his own thing, pushing stuff for the black community. And he was having like a shoe war or they was trying to determine, he's talked against the big brands too, like,
Hmm.
like he was taping up his Nikes and stuff like that or his Kobe's. It was just like, I can't represent a brand if they're for whatever reasons if they're not doing this for the community. But he was having a bidding war last summer for a shoe, and then he ended up going with his own, or he signed with this one company. I got to remember the name because I bought the shoe. The shoe is somewhere around here, but they developed the shoe specifically for him. He wore it all season, but
Okay.
Ottoman said I ended up
You
buying
didn't
his
tear
shoes.
his
I thought it was
Achilles.
yeah, I thought it was dope. Like I was like, well, no, and it was like it was 200, but
Yeah.
you used to 200, you be like, well, I'm paying that for Jordans or whatever. But all that being said, I went on and got him just to support him in general because he's a dope dude. He seems to know his stuff. He's getting paid. He's not worried about the money,
Yeah.
but he's getting his money. I
Hmm.
never heard about him having to sit out games and stuff like that. He seems to play hard every time he's out. So
Yeah.
and to your point, I like him a lot. So I really
Yeah.
see him. And he's
And he
what
doesn't.
26. You
I
know,
think so. And he doesn't leave voicemails on Kobe. He doesn't leave voicemails for a dead Kobe Bryant.
wait. Oh, what? Oh, I forgot Tatum had did that. I was like, wait a minute, I ain't leave no voice like I got Kobe number and shit.
That Tatum does. Tatum has it tattooed on his heart.
You probably do.
Let me
What's
stop
Tatum? Oh,
talking
he's
about
zero. I was
Tatum.
about to say, I'm surprised he hasn't switched to 24 or 8. I don't think he can wear 8, but I gotta remember who's 8. Nigga, Boston has a
Antoine
lot of.
Walker.
Antoine, no, it could have just been him. I feel like that jersey's retired. He ain't got his jersey retired in Boston.
Why not? They
Nigga, watch out.
Antoine Walker said that what did he say? Because I heard somebody talk about this before. I think they talked about it one time on Inside the NBA recently. They were like Antoine Walker said somebody asked yeah, somebody asked Antoine Walker why does he shoot so many threes? And he said because it's not a 4-point line.
Hey, I'm with it.
Yeah.
Can't have his
Antoine
jersey
Walker
retired
is
in
funny.
Boston though. It's like,
Man, if Antoine Walker don't have his jersey retired, we're gonna go to Boston and have violence.
oh, we gonna go there and riot? Yeah, because I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. Hell, even KG jersey isn't retired there, is he? And I don't like KG, but I don't think his jersey's retired there.
Why should his jersey be retired?
I think Paul Pierce's is retired.
It is.
Yeah, but I
I
don't think.
get Paul Pierce, but I mean, he's still a sucker.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
no,
funny. Now, go
number
ahead.
eight isn't retired.
You said what?
20 Number eight isn't retired. 24 is. That was Sam Jones.
Yeah, he can. He
But yeah,
can. Yeah, if I was, I guess Tatum could have wore 8. To make up
good.
to have Kobe.
I think that might have been before he was slobbing Kobe down. No, you know what? Actually, I figured it out. He's zero because he looks
Wait,
at
hold
the
on one
eight.
second. Why is he 0?
Yeah, no, you said Tatum was zero, right?
Yeah, it's 10-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, why
So
is he 0, Eddie?
so this is the thing. So he thought about eight, but he
Hmm.
looked at he wanted his jersey number to like represent him and Kobe merging together. So if he had been the number eight, there would have been that divide there. Like, and he wouldn't have had a problem with that divide with Kobe being on top and him being on the bottom because he doesn't mind being the bottom of Kobe. But he wanted them to merge together. So he had to take out that middle line. And you take that middle line out, you got zero. That's why Tatum is number zero. It's probably in Wikipedia.
So let me send it back to you. Let
Yeah,
me.
go ahead.
So the number 8, that line in the middle, which meant one was a top, one was a bottom. Tatum took the number 0 to separate the distinction of who was the top and the bottom between these said players. Is that what we're going with?
Wait.
Is that it? Is that what we're going with, Eddie?
Nah, I lost you. I guess someone happened with my Wi-Fi. Say it again. Explain it back to
Okay.
me again.
Okay. Let me throw this back at you real quick.
Okay.
So the number 8
Mm-hmm.
is a distinction between like who's a top and who's a bottom. So Tatum being as thought being able to think the way that he thinks,
Mm-hmm.
said, let me take this line out the middle
Yep.
to separate the distinction between who's the top and who's the bottom between said players.
And so we can merge. Our souls can merge together.
Oh,
I
that's
can be. He wanted to become one with Kobe, and
okay.
he couldn't become one with Kobe if the line was there because that line would have separated, wouldn't have allowed their souls to merge together.
Oh, okay.
So he takes it out.
So that's where the number 0
Hmm.
came from.
It's eight without the line, the middle line, the
Okay.
middle bar, the
So it's
boundary
not
that
merging the
separates their
souls.
souls.
So as you said, it's merging the souls, not who's the top or who's the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, eight, if he would have worn eight, it would have been about a top and bottom situation. And in his mind,
Okay.
Kobe would have been the top part of the eight, and he would have been the bottom part of the eight.
Oh, okay. I knew it was something.
Yeah,
So let me
but that would
let
have
me
been
ask
if he chose eight. But he instead of having a top bottom relationship,
you.
he wanted their
Merge
souls to
soul
merge
relationship.
together. Yeah, he wanted, and so that's why he chose zero.
Okay.
Otherwise, if he had wanted a top bottom relationship, he would have went with eight.
Hmm. I knew it was something.
Well, that's what it was. I mean, take
so
him a little. Well,
so let me ask you this question. Pivot the conversation. NBA draft, because that was was it when Dallas won? I think it was maybe a few weeks ago. It's like kind of a not necessarily a deeper conversation, but do you see players now? Because I know for me, I'll just give my how I feel about it, right? And then you tell me how you feel. I don't have as much investment in the college game anymore to be able to see players and think that they're going to change franchises or they're
Right.
going to like change how franchises move. Like say for Cooper Flag, like what he's going to do to Dallas or um like how do you feel like the because I remember back in the day, like we knew who was, getting drafted. We knew who was going to be the, top 5, 10, sometimes top 15 picks, or even from them top 15 or 20, you had a chance to watch these teams play to be able to say that person's a dog or that person's going to be worth it to an NBA franchise. So, how do you feel like the draft impacts teams now versus back in the day?
So I don't know. I don't because I don't follow college for real no more. So I don't, and I don't know what the scouts do. Like I don't know if the scouts feel like they're seeing impact players, but I would imagine like I don't know. I think a lot of times, like of course you have Wimbyana, who was like considered a generational talent. Like I think some teams are kind of looking at Cooper Flag that way, but I think sometimes some teams might be I don't know, like, but I heard, guy, I think it was one of those Rutgers boys. They probably say he was probably the better. I can't remember his name now, but said he's probably the better. He'll probably be the better pro. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know because I don't follow college no more, so I don't really know. To what you said, like, I don't know, who's a dog, who's a potential like number one pick because when you saw Steve Francis, I think Steve Francis went two behind Yao Ming, but you kind of knew that like Steve Francis, he a number two pick. Like if he wasn't in the draft for like a Yao Ming, he probably would be number one. Like you could see things like you saw Iverson ball at Georgetown, so you was like he's the number one pick. Like I mean, I granted, like I said, I don't watch college, so I just hear Cooper Flag just because, for one, like we as a country like to give Duke hand jobs. So if you go to Duke, you're automatically considered the number one pick. Um, and then
I
this
mean,
Cooper,
so the players are,
and then Cooper Flag actually did ball out.
yeah,
So
but he was hooping.
I
Like,
mean, he was hooping. He'll be trash when he gets to the league, but um, um, along with my theory that there are no superstar white American born players. Um, so he won't be great. He'll be okay, you know, but he won't be franchise changing. But anyway, that was
what
something
about
else.
John Stockton?
I mean, yeah, he played what 50 years ago. Like, there's
Oh,
always
you
the
talking
exception.
current?
Yeah, but there's always the exception to prove the
I
rule.
mean, you got Larry Bird, yeah,
Yeah, like so there's
Tom Chambers.
exceptions. Was he great?
Tom Chambers?
Yes,
Uh,
great.
he's in the Hall of Very Good, and I say that as in like I saw some stat about him like a few years ago. It's like him and what's dude Antoine Jameson, only the only two players ever to score. I think it's 19,000 points. This is 19 or 20 to score 19 or 20,000 points in their career and not be in the Hall of Fame. So I
Mm.
mean, he's good. Like I mean, I'm saying like for Hall of Fame status, like I mean, Tom Chambers is an All Star. Um,
No, I mean Tom Chambers, but he had that little dunk on Lakers versus Celtics. That was his
with the
unstoppable
knees
move.
and shit, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
so like, nah, I mean,
well,
I
Bill, what
really
about your boy Bill Laimbeer, man? I feel like what Bill Laimbeer was an All
he
Star.
he wasn't a great player. He wasn't a great he wasn't a franchise changing. He wasn't a franchise player.
I
I
mean,
love Bill Laimbeer.
he had some numbers though. I mean, I saw some
Yeah,
games. I'm like 20 plus
I
rebounds.
said no great. When I say no great American white ball players, I mean great like franchise changers. I mean like a Larry Bird,
Oh yeah.
a John Stockton. Like they'll be because Chet Holmgren is gonna be solid. He ain't gonna be an MVP.
I mean, but that's because of the
But
team. That's because of the makeup of his team. I mean, I think he's
man,
dope
Chet
for them.
Holmgren could be in Detroit and he won't be an MVP candidate.
Nobody could go to Detroit and be an MVP
But
candidate.
he won't be an MVP candidate on any team. And I disagree with that because Kay Cunningham might want that. But all I'm saying is Chet Holmgren can't go to any team. Chet Holmgren will never be an MVP, a serious MVP candidate, regardless of what team he is on.
That's because he's white though.
No, because he's white American.
Oh, oh, okay.
Because Jokic got it. Jokic is probably arguably the best player in the NBA.
Jokic gonna win it again.
Yeah, and he's white, but
Honestly,
he's European
honestly, he
white.
had a case for winning it this year.
He
yeah,
did.
he
I,
had
I
better
think people.
numbers this year than like it was some status saying how he's top three in every category. Like
Yeah,
he's top three in rebounds, assists, points. Like I was like, yeah, that's crazy.
but I think just SGA, he lost out on last year, and I think he was. And I don't. I'm not saying I don't think SGA didn't deserve it. I think he did. I just think I think there's a point too where like we know that Jokic is great now
Hmm.
because those numbers any other
Yeah,
year those would
MVP fatigue.
that would
Same
have
thing.
been yeah
Yes.
like it's
The same thing happened to LeBron.
yeah like you could
So,
probably make an argument that like most of the years that LeBron played in Cleveland and Miami he could have won MVP
yeah.
and it's you what happens with the level of greatness they play at we normalize it so when they turn around and do it or only enhance it a little bit we don't really recognize it as great as it was the first time around. We like, nah, but that's what LeBron do. That's what Jokic do. Like, and it's like, yeah, that's what they do, but still ain't nobody else in the league doing it. Like, um,
Let me ask this question. So why doesn't the talent translate to wins in college anymore? And I'm saying that like, say for instance, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, from Rutgers, the two top players. I think they were like number one and number three coming out of high school. They were number one and number three. No, they weren't number. They were number two and number three because they were behind Cooper. But they were on the same team. And why doesn't that translate to dominance on a collegiate level? Like I remember, like if you look at most of the talent, and this is how I feel like it was back in the day when you watched the tournament. Most people that was in the tournament, they ended up, getting more exposure just because they're in the tournament, and then being higher picks and stuff like that. So telling me you have the number two and the number three player that's considered to being drafted, why doesn't that translate to success on any level anymore? Does that make sense?
I mean, it does, but I don't have an answer for you. I mean, I don't. I mean, I
I'm
don't
saying
know
like,
if it's
why wouldn't Rutgers just be balling the fuck out because they got like the two top talent? Like you look at
yeah, no.
Michigan, you look at University of Michigan, right? You had Weber, Jalen, Jawan, all in it from the Fab Five, right? And they went to the finals game twice. People could say, well, they didn't win it, blah blah blah, but they went to the finals game twice. They went to the Elite Eight the year after that, and even after that year that they went to the Elite Eight, I mean, Jawan and Jalen was drafted. So it's just like we knew the talent was there within them players, but it's just like, is it just? I mean,
I mean, I don't know who else was on that Rutgers team. Was the rest of the team garbage?
it
Because you
could have
said a
been,
fat, but that was five top
but you talk.
players.
They are the number two and number three players being drafted, like on the draft board behind Cooper. So it's like even if you don't have that great of a team within that talent, you still should be able. You got the top two players in the world collegiately on one team, or top two and three players on a collegiate team. Why can't that or why doesn't that translate to Rutgers dominating the Big Ten, not even dominating the tournament?
I mean, just I don't know. I mean, I guess I mean I hear they're 2 and 3, but that doesn't mean they were like generational talents. It wasn't like you had uh like for like I don't know what draft I don't in the Big East you had Iverson and Ray Allen in the Big East together, and I'm trying to think if there's anybody else, but like say for instance like I mean if you got Iverson one and Ray Allen two, that's a hell of a two. Like I don't. I see that's I don't follow college basketball enough to know how well. Like, yeah, Harper and Bailey. They're I see here Harper averaged 19 and 4.6 boards, and Bailey did 18 points and 7 boards. I mean, it looked decent, but it don't look like neither one of them cracked 20. Um, and
But
then
what I'm
after
saying,
that, I see.
but what I'm saying is like with that talent, like I'm pretty sure they had some 20 and 30 point games or 20 and less than 30. Like with that talent, why is it that? I mean, it's not a question that we would have an answer to, right? We can only speculate. But is it? And this is kind of like a statement, not necessarily an opinion, but is it that the collegiate game isn't needed anymore for to judge how great an NBA talent can be? Like, I know that we have like the G League and stuff like that that provides exposure than we have overseas and stuff like that. Like, how important is the collegiate game anymore? Where you can't even have the top talent, lead you, so far within. I mean, can you look at somebody like you look at Glenn Robinson, right? Glenn Robinson had, I think, Quanzo. Forgot his name. Quanzo something. I can't remember back in the day, but Purdue didn't have no team, but they still made it to the Elite Eight just off of the strength of how good Glenn Robinson was. Um, so it's just
But
like
could it be that teams are better? That you
you said,
can't
what?
get by with just could it be that today teams are better? You can't just get by with like one superstar player on your team. You actually have to build a team because the other teams around you, like, are even though they might not have the number 2 and 3 picks, they have solid basketball teams that are capable of beating you.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's how the system is built. You look at Michigan State.
You'll be a garbage coach.
I mean, you look at Michigan State. Michigan State doesn't really, even though they said Jace Richardson has like moved up, but then I want to say moved up because he had moved up all the way to six. Now he's like predicted just to be a first rounder, like late first rounder. But like Izzo kind of builds off of just having a talented team, but
Yeah,
you still have. I mean, you don't have the Kentuckies. Well, you don't have the blue bloods dominating as much. So what I'm saying is like, is college necessarily like should they start considering? I mean, it should have been considered in my opinion in the first place, but getting rid of that college requirement again to say, well, now you can go to the league if you want to go to the league.
I mean, you could. I mean, uh, sure. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the requirement is really necessary, especially when you only made it one season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're the NBA, you could probably flesh out your G League a little bit more for and just make it a. But like, I mean, you see it now. Like, I know the Thompson twins. They didn't. They went straight to the G League, so you could probably um
And they're a
do
great
that.
example. I like them.
Yeah,
Like their route um was not ideal, but yet they killed it and they're doing great now. But
but college is long. Like, I mean, the fact that like those two players went to Rutgers and they're going to be the number 2 and 3 pick despite the team's lack of success. I mean, clearly teams scouted them enough to feel like they're going to be the number 2 and 3 pick.
mm-hmm,
Like, it don't help college basketball none, but like it appears that if you can hoop, whether you're I guess in the G League or in your freshman year of college, the scouts are going to pick up on it. Now, it don't. It's not necessarily going to translate in. Obviously, didn't translate in anything for Rutgers, and I think it's long been that one and done process. Unless you're like a powerhouse, like a Duke or Kentucky when Calipari was there,
mm-hmm,
like where you, I mean, you know how to like finesse that system a little bit. Like, you can bring in the one and dones, and you can get them to fall into like the program, the name Duke. Like, Rutgers don't strike me as somebody that could pull off. Like, obviously, it looks like they couldn't do a pull off a one and done. Look, I was just looking at the article real quick. I guess the coach said they were injured. There were injuries there and things like that. Like, so it's probably a thing of like coaching as well. Like, said the team just never clicked, and those are things to that. Whereas if you go to Duke, I think you just know. Duke basketball. Like Duke is like you think about in the NBA, you think about the Spurs, you think about Miami, like they got systems in play. Like when you think about Miami, you think about that conditioning they got. Like with Pat Riley, they up there, you can't be over so much of a body fat. Like that's Duke in a way. So Duke can get away with the one and dones because when you go to Duke, the foundation is a university what Coach K built there. To a degree, that's what State has done. Izzo's never really bought into like really done the one and dones, but if Izzo decided he want to do the one and dones like for the foundation that he's built at State, Izzo could probably get away with getting one and dones if he could get one and dones as consistently like as Duke does or like Calipari did when he was at Kentucky. Like I mean, Izzo will probably see. I don't think you see a significant drop in this success that we're used to seeing from State.
Yeah,
Um, but I think I think college like they got the one and dones, they got the NILs now and everything. Like, I don't think college basketball itself. I think college the quality of college basketball is gonna continue to go down. Like I think, but to be honest, like for these kids that just want to get to the NBA and all of that, like that's their only focus. Well, their focus is either get into the NBA or their focus is while they're in college making money. Neither
hmm
one of those helps the game of basketball at the college level. Um, which and I know I don't really. It doesn't really matter to me. Like I think we talked about this on our earlier podcast. Like I understand like what the NIL has done to the college game, but like the NCAA, they never wanted to pay the players. Like you could have years ago, like 20, 30 years ago, you could have put something in place where you would have paid them some kind of money, and it didn't have to be ridiculous. Like you could have made it that they could get stipends. You could make it where you wanted like all on their ass when they got like have a few benefits here or there, but they wanted to be hard nosed about it, and this is what you get. Like it's similar to me. Like I think about the music industry, like
I,
how
I was just about to say the same thing
yeah,
with CDs and Tower Records and all that shit. Like them niggas did the same exact thing. They fought for so long to not work with the Napsters and the you cut the head off, you go through. You got LimeWire, Audio Galaxy,
yeah,
Winamax, all these other things that just pop right up because you knew it was gonna happen. We didn't know it
mhm,
was gonna happen because we were younger and we were just like looking at it. I mean, I remember like being on the computer trying to get as much Napster music as possible before they shut down the site. And then Napster, did something with Best Buy and tried to, monetize it. We was like, no, shit, we got Kazaa, we got all of these other things to use. And they just fucked up and they was overcharging us as consumers. They fucking it up for us. Like we like, well, shoot, we spending 18.99 for a CD, and I'm only liking three songs. Like, well, shit, let me download these three songs on this fucking MP3 downloader and go from there. And rather than, I mean, and it kept us still engaged to consider buying music, but it just the music wasn't as good. So at least for me, I was less reluctant to take a chance on the CD versus like if Outkast
right.
or Jay Z or Nas dropped, I was buying it just off of the strength of them being artists. So yeah, they screwed
They,
the pooch on the music. They screwed the pooch on this NIL stuff, and especially the transfer portal because the transfer portal, man, it's just. I mean, it's just going to dilute the industry. I mean, it's going to dilute the NCAA. Like, it's just
no, the transfer portal I do think is garbage because I think the ease that like you let players transfer that like if you didn't like the coach for the on the one hand I think that the fact that you're saying like, okay, I didn't like the coach or I didn't like this, I didn't like my playing time, so I'm just gonna leave. I think some of it goes, and I guess maybe it's just my age. Like I feel like if you make but see this is
if you
why
commit to
I
if you
don't know if
commit
I
to
should
it,
say it's trash. Yeah,
yeah,
you should honor your commitment, but at the same time, if a head coach, because I think it was during the NCAA tournament, like one of these coaches like left before the tournament started, like announced he was going to another team, like and the coaches aren't held in
same regard as the
the same
players.
regard. So part of me is like, yeah, I think the transfer portal is trash, but at the same, I guess I talking to Troy, I'm like, well, how can you tell the kids to stick around? How can you tell the kids
Stick
if they
around
hear
there if the
about
play if the coaches can. And that's the thing,
yeah,
like. yeah, it has to. You have to find a balance, right? Like in my
Mhm.
opinion, it's just tough for like you got like Michigan State as an example, who is a program that I've seen that is built off of players being there at least 2 or 3 years. Of course, you have some players come and if they're good enough. I mean, hell, I remember Jaren Jackson Jr. I mean, dude, average. I want to say like 6 points and 5 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Dude ended up being the fourth pick in the NBA. It was like what were we missing at Michigan State? Like I mean, but he left. And you talking like he's an all-star, defensive player of the year type of stuff, and you like, damn, like not to say that it wasn't at state, because sometimes that could be a coaching thing. That could be a Izzo's fault. Like, why is a dude that has that much talent, what I'm saying, is only averaging 6 points and 5 rebounds for a Hall of Fame coach, a Hall of Fame coach.
But
So
sometimes a college game, sometimes certain systems you might not fit into. I was gonna drop the name of another one in Dunn State, but
you go ahead. What you talking about,
um,
Tolbert?
nah, I don't want to.
It's some tapping in the background. I can't. I don't know.
Oh, sorry, I'm okay. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. You don't want to talk about the one that done played for Michigan State?
Nah, nah,
Uh,
it might be seen as hating, and
no, go ahead. Hey, man, I'm with it.
nah,
Let it breathe. I'm
no,
with it.
we good, we good.
Okay, I'm trying to think of the one
Like
that
I said,
done.
we're gonna be back home in August, so
All right.
I don't want nobody to be upset back in the hometown.
I mean, you got oh no, talk about Deontay, man. That
Nah,
nigga should have
not about Deontay Davis. I think Deontay Davis, from what I understood, some of the intel he got was that he was going to be a first round pick, and I ended up reading an article about him though, and I don't even think from the basketball like skill wise.
mm,
I read the article. And it just talked about like the personality. Like they talk about, he came to state with dreads, and like they had to tell him like, hey, get your, bring the dreads back so look people in the eye. From what I understand, and I'm sure if there's anybody from Muskegon listening to this and they know
they'll be all right. I don't give a shit.
well, they might know more, but just saying what I knew off of that
Niggas
article is
always gonna know more than you. Fuck them. You know
yeah,
what
but
I'm saying?
said
Like,
but no,
like niggas try to know more than you to tell you that you're not smart enough. It's like, nah, nigga, I just don't know that part of what you know. Like, nigga, I know my shit, and I know what I need to do to be Eddie or be
yeah,
Sean and shit like that. Like, what? Just because you know about motherfucking Deontay Davis, like, nigga, that because you in a small town and you get that. I mean, that might be your cousin and shit. Like, who
yeah,
gives a
but
shit?
no,
That doesn't make you better than me because you know more about a nigga that
right,
fucked off his career. So
yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah, so uh,
yeah,
yeah.
man, I feel that. Okay, so last topic. I know we just over an hour. So we wrap up. What three shows are you currently watching, past or present?
I don't know. General Hospital, Beyond the Gates, and Inside the NBA.
What's Beyond the Gates? I don't even know what that is.
A little black soap on CBS. It is. Mm. It's a
They still
soap
got
opera.
soaps.
They brought this one back, and I have no. Well, they created this one on CBS, and I don't know why. Uh, the acting was bad to start with. Yeah, it's got a little bit better. It's your typical soap opera drama, though. But not really, because I've been caught up on watching Inside the NBA, and with the thing that Aaron Gordon complained about, like the so many games. So that means the pregame show I got to watch, then I watch the halftime show, and then I watch Inside the NBA.
Mm,
I haven't really um got into too much. Like I'm like about 8 9 episodes down on like General Hospital when I just found out Thursday's episode. Gio found out that his parents is Dante in Brooklyn, and so I'm kind of probably when I get done with this, I'm between this and tomorrow, I'm gonna be trying to like catch up on it so I can be caught up on the drama and be like, yo, just because I saw a clip, and then Michael came back. Michael
mm.
Corinthos, he came back. He was burnt. He came back on Friday's episode. So um, once I get caught back up on my soaps, uh, I'm probably gonna try to finish Daredevil. I want Abbott Elementary,
I got to get
and
caught up on that. Hey, man, I need to explain something to you, man. This is about soap operas.
this is people telling you things they think they know. Go ahead, go ahead, go
Nah. I'm look. I'm just gonna tell you what it is. You never get caught up on it.
Yeah, you do.
Not it never ends.
No, yeah, it never ends, but you get caught up to the
I mean, you
episode.
get caught up, but like still stuff is happening in the background that you don't know that like you never it never wraps up. So you never
No, no, yeah, you
like
can never walk away clean.
yeah, that so just like soap opera it's never going to end. Maybe I used the word for the wrong phrasing. It'll never end. You can get caught up, but then you miss an episode and you could be totally out of the loop.
No, I would say the thing about soap operas, I think, for instance, like I'm just trying to watch all the episodes to, cause that's just what I do. But
No, no, ain't nothing wrong with it. I
but
mean, I tell people watch.
no, what I'm
Look,
saying
I'm
though
gonna tell
is,
you the story about my uncle, man. So my uncle, he watched All My Children and One Life to Live every day, and this is Brian Pops, and he told my mom that when his soaps ended because they stopped airing or they just cut the
yeah,
shows
they
off.
stopped those two.
She
Yeah,
asked him what he was going to do. He's like, "I'll probably get a job."
that's funny.
Those soaps have been on for 20,
Yeah,
30
yeah,
yeah, I know at least since the late 70s to early 80s.
yeah,
I
60,
know at
70,
least they've
yeah,
been. I know
yeah,
General Hospital. I want to say dates back to maybe even the 60s or
yeah,
70s.
the
Somewhere.
60s. I think all three of those were the 60s.
So,
Yeah,
but yeah, he said once those soaps ended, at least with One Life to Live and All My Children, he said he's going to get a job. I was like, that's crazy.
that's funny. Now, all I was saying is, I think you could pick. You were like, to me, you could pick up on it. So when I got back in the General Hospital because like my mom watched it when I was a kid and all that. So my mom's watching it. You see it come on, so you know about the major family. You know about Quartermates. You know about Sonny. You know about Jason. You know about all these people. And my
Mhm.
mom, this was years ago. This is man, this was probably because I was staying in Hazel Park by myself at the time. So this is probably 2007, 2008. So we talking about probably 15 years ago. My mom was going down south for something, and so she used to record the soaps. But of course, this was a VCR, so she only had the best you could get out of a VCR tape was like the 8 hour ones. So she was gonna be gone for like I don't know, for a few days, maybe a week, maybe, but long enough that like she recorded those three soaps. All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital. So basically, an 8 hour tape wouldn't do it. I don't know. Patrice wasn't staying there at
Damn,
the time.
shit. That's three
So
hours. That's 3 hours a day of programming. You have to record on SLP.
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. You only get
and you
like
got multiple tapes. I think SLP was what was that 8 hours or was that four
yeah.
hours?
No, that was 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I did for my mom, and this is when I got a DVD recorder. I told my mom I'd record the soaps for her, and then I put them on the DVD for her.
Hmm.
But what I called myself doing was I was trying to be the good son and take the commercials out for it too.
Oh,
So
you.
I kind of just had it running, and then when the commercial would come, I'd pause it and all
Mhm.
that. But General Hospital, actually, all three, well, all my children I didn't get into, but Sonny still on General Hospital. Michael done grown up. Some of these people that you remember as kids, the gangsters are still there, the quartermains are still there, and it was like you could, yeah, all this stuff had happened like over the past 5, 10 years that you ain't watched it, but you get up to enough to like, hey, Sonny's still Sonny, Jason's still Jason. And so then for a quick minute, I stepped away. I told my mom, like, yo, this is a lot. Like, I'm gonna stop watching. And so I stopped watching. Probably somewhere around a year later, my mom started telling me about like Michael killed his stepmom, Claudia. And I'm like, dang, for real? Started watching again and ain't been able to go back. But like for instance, where I say I'm 10 episodes behind on General Hospital, I could just start watching from like Thursday or Friday. And I might not have everything that happened for them to find out that, like, for instance, Geo is Brooklyn and Dante's son. I know Lulu's punk ass has something to do with it. Like,
Hmm.
I wouldn't know all the intricate details, but I know, like, yeah. So like they to me they're for one, like you said, they'll never end. like
Hmm.
because it's always an ongoing story. Like there's never a good like if you're gonna stop watching a soap opera, you just have to decide you're gonna stop. Like you,
That's how it
it
was
won't
for me
be
with
a
One Life to Live. I was
yeah.
into One Life to Live and all my. I never liked General Hospital, but like my sisters had me watching the other ones, and like I was into it. Like I was watching. But then one like I mean, not that I'm motherfucking. I can see the future and shit like that. But at the same time, I remember watching it. And it's like the summer. Like I went down to Texas, like in like '93 or '92, somewhere around there. And I'm just watching. I'm like, I'm never getting an answer, because
No, you don't.
you would get an answer, and
And
then but
then
the
open
answer
up
leads to
another
something
question.
else, and then like here's
Yeah.
another subplot that's going on within the show.
No, it's always something. Like it's always just a speculation. Like you always a new character comes along and they like when the boy Geo came up, they was like, man, he must be somebody's kid. And then that's the thing about soap. Soaps to me in comic books are like kind of the same, where like nobody
Yeah.
ever truly dies.
Uh-huh.
Um, the story gets changed.
Mhm.
Like at times there's no continuity. Like they'll like and the thing that throws me is like, man, you'll look like if you try to do the math in your head for like how old some people are, like you'll say like this chick Carly had a baby like a few years ago. I feel like Carly should have been like 50 because her son is like 30.
Mhm.
Her oldest son is like 30. It's like if I do the math, you like 50, 55 having this baby.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
but
don't try to
that
make
don't
sense of it. It just
yeah, you don't never hear nobody's age. You just get certain milestones. And it's only when they're kids. Like they graduated from high school. But then even when the kids, I think they call it, I think the term at this grade, we talking about soaps like this. They call it something called a rapidly aging thing. So like it'll be one thing when like the kid is on the soap, the kid is 5 years old, and then 2 years later, the kid has graduated from high school. Like, and even that throws me off because I look at the stuff not like General Hospital when I look at like
I mean, Judy went
Mike,
upstairs and never came down. So
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. I will say I don't do people don't necessarily disappear like that on soaps. They just get older, or they'll do the famous recast.
I
Like
mean, the thing about it, they do it so smooth. Like you say, for instance, even
they
the
do.
Cosby Show. I mean, what's the name? Wasn't a kid? Sabrina LaBeouf, Sandra. She wasn't a
Yeah.
kid on like the first, the pilot. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
they just throw him in there, and should they throw a light skinned Aunt Viv, and it's nobody pays attention to it. But you just got to do it like that, so you ain't got to sit up there and constantly explain it. And that
How you
happens
doing?
with
Yeah.
you got talking like you said comic books. You talking like the Marvel films. It's like that was dope because they were able to build continuity, even though some of the math doesn't line up. But I think they were pretty close as far as building a continuity of a universe from like 2008 until like 2018, or even longer than that. It's
Right.
like that's dope to see that everything is like, even I don't know if you had a chance to watch Thunderbolts or even Captain America, but they had to been filming at the same time, and they had to have their scripts written. I want to say
Right.
together, but there's references, because Captain America came out in February, Thunderbolts came out in May.
Uh,
There's continuity in the shit of them talking about things that happened in Captain America. So,
yeah.
but yeah, soap opera, like I've never been against soap operas. I just know that they take up a lot of time. Like it just like and soap operas to me aren't like, like say if I'm watching, I don't know, The Wire or something like that, and I start watching it on season three, and I'm like, well, nah, maybe I should go back and watch season one, season two.
You ain't going
I
back.
don't, I don't see too many people going back and be like, yeah, let me watch season one, 1965
Then
of General Hospital or something like that. So,
trying to figure them things out. Yeah. And but like
and it
yeah,
really, you
yeah,
don't
ain't
have
no
to either because the continuity
nah,
isn't really there. He was like, I mean,
nah.
it gives some history, but it's not like it impacts what you're currently watching.
What's yeah, what you see today. So yeah, nah, it's like nah, them joints like you said, hey, you ain't going back and like I said, even that probably that. 10 year, because it was probably from high school to, 'cause I didn't really watch it in college, so it probably would have been about somewhere between the 10, 15 year gap between watching them. Man, I never thought to myself like, dang, I need to go back and see what Sonny been doing for the past 15 years. I
Hmm.
need to get caught up on it, like you said. But like some other shows, like you'll you'll
It's
get
short,
into them.
shorter season. It make it easier to like understanding Michael Scott's character from The Office. It's like it doesn't hurt to watch that
Watch it,
that
yeah,
first season of like 7 episodes and stuff like that, or
right.
but
And
it'd
the
be
thing,
weird just watching season 7 of The Office and Michael's not there. And you're like, well,
you
why
don't know what,
is why is Dwight acting,
yeah. Why is
um,
Stringer Bell the office manager now?
right? Yeah. So it's little things like that. Little especially man, especially with the Wire, because the Wire tells such a. It's really just pages, unfolding. Where I mean
Yeah,
everything,
you can't step into any season of The Wire and like you
and
need to know from the
I mean, you got
beginning.
to know about Bubs. You got to know about,
Mm,
like you said, Avon or Stringer, or I mean, seeing Marlo just pop up and give Avon problems. Like you got to understand like where Avon's status was, from season 1
right.
on. So
Yeah.
it's little stuff like that that's very important. And even
Yeah.
Prop Joe and understanding Prop Joe's connection between Stringer and Marlo and the whole what they call it, not the connection, but
Yeah,
the
the what were they called? The
the
not the
coup. It wasn't a coup.
conglomerate.
Yeah, it was some term, but understanding why that was derived, and brother
Yeah.
Muzone and all that stuff. So
But even on that, like if you a lot of people say they don't like season two of The Wire. If you don't watch season two of The Wire, you have no idea about how like Prop Joe came to be the connect he did. Like
I
you
fuck with
because you
season 2.
no, I do too, but a lot of people say they don't like it. But like you if you take
I never
season two
understood
out,
that
if
though.
you
It fits within the story. It's just like not like in
it
a
does.
chapter. But keep going. My bad. I'm sorry.
Nah, but I just say I think some people get into it like they, it was the focus on it seemed to be like the dock workers and the white
Mhm.
people, and like people were used to seeing like the police, the usual like back and forth with the drug dealers and all of that. But it's like man, I thought like when you look at season two, like you gonna get there. You gonna get back to like the Barksdale crew coming back in. You got Prop Joe, but like I
D'Angelo
said, if
died
you
next
don't,
season.
and yeah, D'Angelo
Uh, uh,
dies.
uh, uh,
Like
the reasons why you don't like Stringer is in that season.
it's
Like
season two. Like yeah,
so,
man, like hey, like if you don't watch season two, then you don't understand why I'm so happy when Stringer gets lit up at the end of season three.
yep.
Like you that like there's even vague references to the Greek after that. Like to what you're saying. Like when Marlo meets with the Greeks to get the connect.
Yeah, the connect
If you
was
didn't see
all
season
that
two, you
developed in
don't know
season
who
2.
he is. Yeah,
Yep. Mhm.
you don't get it. Like they go back into that diner that they was always in the season two. Marlos goes in and give him the dirty money guy, clean it up. You see, I can't remember his name now, but the dude that really liked basically the guy that was the mouthpiece for the Greeks. Like they don't pop up like in major ways after season two, but they pop up enough that like if you hadn't seen season two, you wouldn't have known anything about them. Um,
Mhm.
so it's like you said, the wire, like all that, like I said, what they say, all the pieces matter. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, but Game of Thrones is similar. Like Game of Thrones, you can't come into Game of Thrones on season four and like really have a true understanding of it if you didn't see the previous seasons. Like you don't like if you
Talking
come into
red
seasons,
wedding. You
yeah,
talking the beheading. You talking the marriage. You talking Joffrey dying. You talking um,
man, if
Tyron being killed. You talking the
yeah,
change between Tyrion. What's the name's hand getting cut off. It's a
man,
and
if
honestly, you don't see the comeuppance of what's her name
Cersei,
yeah, Cersei. Like,
yeah,
if you look at her, like she really went. That's every time I watch that show, and I started rewatching a couple days ago. Every time I rewatch that show, I see it with a different lens. Like,
yeah,
I mean, because
They always
honestly,
put
I,
that
I
something
saw
else.
I saw the Lannisters as being like the bad guys, but they really weren't. They were just fighting a war that they were handed. They were protecting
And war they
their
created.
their investment. Well, so yes, but at the same time, they had to fight it, right? Like Tywin wasn't a bad guy.
No,
Tywin fought for his family.
you're right. I agree with you on that. Like Tywin, like his family, his son and his daughter, they fucked things up, and Tywin came in and
Literally.
cleaned up their mess. Like
Yeah.
even when Tywin talked about like the red wedding, and I forgot what it's been so long, but like Tywin basically said like his philosophy on it was like, do I wipe everybody off the board now, all the major players, and end this
Mhm.
war now, or do I stand on like some kind of moral high ground that like we are not supposed to attack them at a wedding, so like we just continue this war out and like lives are lost on both sides. Like I understand Tywin. Like to me, like you said, Tywin was fighting a war to protect his family, but to me, like this is all. I Jamie and Cersei, like y'all up here, you know, exchanging like bodily fluids, and y'all siblings, and Bran find out, so you push Bran out the window. Ned Stark ends up realizing, starts to uncover the fact that like your kids are like aren't like Baratheon's kids, so you kill him. Like as I'm talking through, like I really put this on Jamie and
No,
Cersei.
it's definitely Jamie and Cersei, but look at it like this, right? If Ned said, "Man, it's fucked up," but that's just the way it is.
Of Ned had just minded his business, you saying?
Shit would have ended at season one. It's like yeah, I mean, it's really like I said. I look. I remember watching this show and just thinking like, oh man, they're gonna find out, and then thinking like, damn,
Never
like
fun.
he got his head cut off, his wife got killed, oldest son got killed, um, son already got knocked out the window being handicapped and shit.
The Starks went
Um,
through it.
the Starks lost everything just after that beheading. You know, it was like, damn, like if he had kind of just, left it alone. Not that it went. I mean, like I said, that's what
Man,
pretty much drove the first season. But
yeah.
um,
But we tell people in life to do the right thing, and that's what Ned was doing.
Ned was kind of doing the right thing too much though. Like
Look, he
Ned didn't
nah,
read the room. Ned was doing the right thing, but didn't read the room correctly.
no, yeah. If Ned would have read the room correctly, if Ned would have just went for survival, um, dang, is Ned Jesus?
I
He got
mean,
sacrificed.
I mean, look, put it like this: if Ned would have did very very similar to what Rob did, right? Rob went and knew that they couldn't go up against the Lannisters, so he went and started recruiting people to go up against them. If Ned had, like, Ned went into it off of pride and off of thinking that people were going to do it the right way, but had no backup.
Yeah,
And
I'll give you that. But I think in some ways, remember he reached out to Littlefinger, thought Littlefinger had his right. Ned
chose the wrong
trusted the
people.
people. Ned, yeah, he trusted people he shouldn't trusted. Ned thought that because he thought the right thing to do was to expose certain wrongs, Ned thought people would get behind him. But see, Ned went through that, so Rob didn't have to go through that. Rob saw what happened to his pops, and Rob realized, I need to have an army if I'm gonna do this. Like I'm gonna have to have people backing me. Like if I'm
But
gonna do
shit,
this.
Rob fucked up. Rob got fucked up by pussy.
Yeah, yeah. For some reason, I started thinking about Jon Snow, but now, yeah, I'm back on the same page. Yeah, Rob. Yeah, Rob.
No,
Yeah, Rob
Rob made
was,
it. Rob made a commitment, even though I
and
mean,
he
I would have
honored
married
his
that
commitment.
ugly ass chick, but like Rob made a commitment to
No, he could have
Walter
taken you some
Frey.
concubines on the side, dog.
You said what?
He could have taken some. He could have taken side pieces, man, and been good.
Yeah,
But now you, yeah, like I said, he wanted to.
Walter Frey was
Some,
like, marry my wife, you or marry my daughter, you got this, da da da. And he went right
but
in his
some of
face. Was like, look at my wife. This is who
yeah,
I'm marrying. You know what I'm
but
saying?
like
Like, I feel like it was the way that Rob did it. You know, like, because it was kind of like an ego thing for me. I'm like, yeah, do that shit, Rob. And I was like, yeah, that shit got Rob killed.
but it's just like his pops. It was the pride in it. It was the I don't want to marry a woman that I don't love, but I found somebody that I love, so I'm gonna do right by her, and I'm gonna marry her, and I'm gonna come to you and say, "This is my wife. I'm sorry, I can't marry your daughter," and you're thinking that you're doing something that, like, yeah, it's noble. It's honorable that you did it, but we're talking about Walter Frey. Like,
Fuck nigga.
nah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
Walter
nah.
Frey ain't he ain't gonna Walter Frey's like deep down is gonna be like, man, I really respect you for coming to me like this, man. Like I understand you don't want to marry my daughter. Hey, but we can still have this alliance that we talked about. Like, nah, you shitted on him, man. So now he
You shit
worked with
at
the
him, then
Lannisters
you
to
want to be
take
at the
you out.
wedding too? Like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, like you could have I think his mom even tried to warn him against that, like about that kind of flaunting that in the
yeah, she
face.
told him. Yeah, she told him
Yeah,
to chill the
like
fuck out, and like it got both. Look, I had so many hopes for the Starks, and honestly, I mean, like I said, big picture, man. And I kind of abide by the Lannisters, like um, was it you pay what you owe type of deal.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm like the Lannisters was running shit damn near
I mean, they you know,
every season of Game of Thrones. Um, with the exception of the bastard kids, but it is what it is. I mean, Cersei ran it all the way until like shit when they all the way up until when they cut old girl head off. They held it down, and that was the last season. Shit.
she
So,
did. Then she
but
died.
he cut that. Yeah, but I didn't like the way she. I mean, she didn't die like a. She should have died at the hands of somebody else.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, didn't they die together on a crumbling building?
yeah, then the
In the
fact that
same,
he boned Brienne and then left and shit. He's like, man, I'm going back to be with my true love.
yeah, he like, man, I'm about to go bust my sister's. Never mind. Never
On that note, thank you all for listening. Appreciate y'all. Um, Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Don't say shit. Whatever you would like to do moving forward. Thank you all. Appreciate you for listening to the Reality or Not podcast with DJ Reality and the big homie Ed. Talk to you soon.
mind. All right.